Hey everyone, Mr. Ambrose here today with your daily dose of sonnets. In the year 2021, we're kicking things off by talking about one sonnet each day. And today, our subject matter is Shakespeare's sonnet number 16. One of the interesting elements about Shakespeare's sonnets is that even though they create a series with a narrative arc over the span of 154 poems, each sonnet can be examined individually. However, some sonnets pair together. That's called a diptych. And Sonnet 16 creates a diptych with Sonnet 15. Think of them as two plates, as in a notebook, hinged together. So Sonnet 16 is going to build on some of the ideas of Sonnet 15. You don't necessarily have to be familiar with Sonnet 15 to understand the theme of Sonnet 16, but it certainly does place that theme in proper context. So if you need to, go check out yesterday's video on Sonnet 15, and then bounce back and join us for Sonnet 16. Here we go. Sonnet 16. But wherefore do not you a mightier way make war upon this bloody tyrant time, and fortify yourself in your decay with means more blessed than my barren rhyme? Now stand you on the top of happy hours, and many maiden gardens, yet unset with virtuous wish would bear your living flowers. Much liker than your painted counterfeit, so should the lines of life that life repair, which this, time's pencil, or my pupil pen, neither in inward worth nor outward fare, can make you live yourself in eyes of men. To give away yourself keeps yourself still, and you must live, drawn by your own sweet skill. So when we look at the ideas from Sonnet 15, which was yesterday's sonnet, we see that Shakespeare, in the final rhyming couplet of that poem, introduces an idea that he can help to preserve the beauty of the fair youth by writing about the fair youth in his poetry. And we said yesterday that worked pretty well, right? Because for 400 years, we've been talking about how beautiful this fair youth was to Shakespeare. So when Shakespeare introduces that idea in Sonnet 15, it's kind of a new idea in the sonnet series. This idea that Shakespeare can somehow make the fair youth live on forever and make his beauty live on forever just by writing about it. But in Sonnet 16, Shakespeare almost immediately contradicts that. We know that this poem is a diptych because it begins with the conjunction but. So think about it. If you're starting with phrase with the word but, you're referencing something that was said earlier. Shakespeare's sonnet beginning with the word but is a signal to us that it picks up where yesterday's sonnet left off. At the end of Sonnet 15, Shakespeare says, well, one way to keep you beautiful is I can write about your beauty. Sonnet 16 begins, but maybe that's not going to work. In Shakespeare's first line here, he says, but wherefore do not you a mightier way make war upon this bloody tyrant time? Wherefore is one of those words that's often misread in Shakespeare. In Romeo and Juliet, Juliet famously says, Romeo, O Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? And so many modern readers misread that as, where are you, Romeo? However, what she's saying is there, why are you Romeo? Why are you this name? Why are you from the Montague family? If only you were from a different family, things would work out better. So remember that line, wherefore art thou Romeo, which means, why are you Romeo, when we interpret this line, wherefore do not you a mightier way make war upon this bloody tyrant time? In this line, Shakespeare is saying, why do you not make war against time? Why do you not do something which will be much more powerful than what I'm doing with my pupil pen? In Sonnet 15, Shakespeare builds himself up a little bit, suggesting that he can immortalize the fair youth's beauty with his poetry. But in Sonnet 16, there's a shift in that tone. In Sonnet 16, he starts to suggest that his pupil pen will pale in comparison to what the fair youth could do to preserve his beauty. And remember, since this is one of the final procreation sonnets, what Shakespeare suggests the fair youth can do is have a child. He suggests that is the sweet skill that the fair youth possesses. And that skill that the fair youth possesses, that ability to have a child, is much more valid than Shakespeare's ability to write. Now, we all know what a great writer Shakespeare is, and at the time he's writing the sonnet series, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that he's already had some significant success as a playwright. and as an actor. However, he acknowledges that the fair youth in his beauty has a special skill, a skill to have children that are as beautiful. And that is a skill that no writer has, even a writer as skilled as Shakespeare. What I'd like you to do for tonight for an assignment is I'd like you to think about writing a diptych. For last night's poem, you wrote a poem that was inspired by a famous line of Shakespeare's, the line of your choosing. I'd like you to continue those ideas in tonight's writing. I'd like you to build upon a sequel to that poem. You might contradict what you said yesterday, or you might build upon it. But in some way, I'd like you to hearken back to yesterday's poem and continue with today's poem, just as Shakespeare has done with Sonnets 16 and 15 before it. I look forward to seeing what you come up with, and until next time, take care.